During my orientation week at General Seminary in Manhattan, one of the things we were told to do as we explored the city was to look up at the amazing architecture that surrounded us. That's because people in Manhattan, by and large, don't, in fact, look up. They look down at their feet, at the gum-encrusted pavement, into their phones. Which is a shame, because from a pedestrian's point of view, the wonder of New York is above the ornamented cornices of brownstones, the Art Deco rooftops of iconic skyscrapers, and even the overlit marquees of Times Square. And when you think about it, most architecture is designed to draw the eye upward. You have to look up to discover the interesting details. The glory of a classical column is its capital. A Gothic cathedral's arches meet at riotously carved corbels. Skyscrapers reach miraculously into the clouds. So if you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, the writer to Colossians advises. But we don't. We go through life downcast, or in being told to lower our expectations, or by embracing the low culture of immediacy and impermanency, which is the hallmark of our time. But that's all very obvious. Against it, we might contrast Jesus' warnings about greed in this morning's gospel. Take care, he cautions. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Well, maybe one of the reasons we were told to look up as we explored Manhattan was because there was a lot, too much, at eye level that was almost irresistible. Simon Doonan and his generation raised window dressing to an art form with their pre-Instagram thirst traps. Block after block of all sorts of unnecessary and therefore irresistible designer clothes, priceless works of art, and luxurious groceries were enough to make even the staunchest ascetic greedy. It was all too attractive and desirable. Yet a couple of generations ago, some version of the good life was attainable. But it isn't anymore, of course. Corporate greed has seen to that. These days, we're deeply aware that the thirst trap lifestyle, be it analog or digital, isn't winnable. Even so, our greed for things we neither need nor deserve can still make us both monstrous and monstrously focused on other things, lower things, like grievances about, well, you name it, suspicion about everyone, intolerance for anything different, envy for those who have more than we do. That's what's driving the nastiness of our age. For a long time, we thought that we could buy anything, including love, and that our buying power was unlimited. But now that we've discovered it isn't, and it never was, we're not only downcast, but disparaging. Since we can't have the blandishments on display in culture's windows, we must look away. But where? Down, at our feet, and at folks who either have what we want or who keep us from getting it. Yet here's something else I learned all those years ago as a young divinity student in New York. In that great, exciting, and yes, demoralizing city, it's common to think of people as insular, turned inward by trying to cope with the crowds and challenges. While that's true, it's also true that I've never lived in a place where random strangers will meet your eye, be it with desire, curiosity, or pity, like they do there. Jesus said, "Be on your guard against all kinds of greed." Yet the Greek word for greed simply means a desire for more. So the kind of greed kindled by luscious retail windows is unhealthy and pernicious. But the greed to desire deeper connection with people we walk this earth with, to desire the grace to see people eye to eye is, as the old prayer book said, meet and right, a good thing. You see, we can't seek the things that are above if we don't see one another for who and whose we are, which is children of one great holy family. We're called to look not only beyond our fears and desires, but above them, because we're better than who we're in danger of becoming, which is a people who don't see beyond the tip of their noses, or worse, look down them at others. We're better than that because, dare I say it, we're greedy for a city which resembles at least something of the heavenly city of our spiritual imaginations. A city where there's no longer Greek and Jew, circumcised and uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, enslaved and free. A city filled with folks who meet us eye to eye, like lovers and long-lost friends do. A city we can go to, if only we lift our eyes to seek something more than window dressing, something we own, though never could buy. The cross of the one in whose eyes we see our hope, our life, our destiny.